We are now in order. If we could stand for the pledge, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Moats?
Here.
Mrs. Oberlin? Here. Mr. Rodenberger?
Here.
Mr. Wall?
Here.
I'm Stevie, I'm sorry, guys. Public participation, we're still under the COVID situation, so assuming that no one has contacted you, Mr. Moore?
No, ma'am.
Okay, we will move on now to the financials for August 2020.
You guys have the report. Does anyone have any questions regarding the report? As you noted, as I noted on the top, you'll see that the 5-year forecast, we switched over to new software. So some of the reports that you'll be seeing will be new for the November 5-year. Remember, it's in November this year, in October. So we see that. But what the reports are, the way that the 5-year forecast software is set up is that it has like a base scenario, which is like everything we know as of today when it comes to school finance. And then it has forecasting modules. So we have like a November forecast, we have a May forecast, or we could have a, you know, this is what next year if we do this forecast is. The base scenario is the one these reports are driven off of. So they do not include the changes in state funding that have not happened yet. So what is in this forecast summary is the like 3% in change that we got last year.
Got cut.
Cut last year. So it's not the 10% that I forecast in May. So when you look at this, you'll look at like think, okay, well, May we were like 5 million negative, now we're 7, but I added a year. So this is actually through another year, and if you look at 2024, from May to now, it's actually changed to about, I believe it's like negative 700, about 700,000 versus the negative 5, but that's because I put back in the state funding that we have not been cut yet, because we don't know what those cuts will be. And honestly, I heard not a whole lot coming from the state level. They basically, we were told that the state's revenues came in, and I want to say higher than expected, but know that expectations were low. So because of COVID, because of all the things happening, they projected a lower amount than what they normally get, and they got a little bit more. Now, still means that they got less than they would have normally got, but from what I'm hearing is if there'll be more cuts, they won't be large cuts as they first thought, but there may still be cuts. But right now, the only thing we have written in stone is the cuts we absorbed last year. So the good news is we don't know what they are yet, so there's still hope that there isn't any more. The bad news is the longer we wait, the more impact it's going to have on us, because say for example, they take away 400,000, that's 400,000 taken away in a shorter period of time than 12 months. So it's going to, you know, not that we're spending this money, but I mean just the impact on our foundation will be more. Because they'll be taking back money that we've already collected. So that's those reports. So I just wanted to make sure that you don't look at that and think, oh, you know, much better, but it is, but there's a reason it's much better. The additional thing is, as I'm working on the forecast, putting in the projections that we have for healthcare increases this year. So we still haven't gotten the final numbers on those, but we think it.
Next Tuesday is when those are supposed to be brought to us. We've got some estimates on that.
So, but if you take a look at these reports, if you have any questions, just let me know, or if you need any explanation. They're, like I said, they're a little bit different. I didn't pull all of them that you'll see in November, but I wanted you to see some of them to see what the changes were from May. So. And we're having trouble for some reason. I have a ticket out to board docs Regarding the report upload, I'm not sure if all of you are seeing it or not, because I know Beth and I go back and forth with what we can see out, depending on what browser we're using. But if you use Google Chrome, some of the reports cut off halfway through the page. I'm sorry. So if you ever get that,
You can get on it.
will it?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you ever have problems seeing something, I think just let us know, because sometimes like when I put it up, when I see it, it's perfectly fine. But then 2 days later, Beth will look at it, or, and say, hey Cheryl, you're missing pages, 4 and 8, half pages. So Board Docs is aware that there's an issue. Beth did tell me that if she went to Safari, she didn't have that issue.
Right.
So it might be a Google browser thing, but if you can't see something and you want to see it, let me know. I can always scan those via email or something to you. So. Outside of that, we have started redesign in September. So we've been on for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. It's going very well. I think there's still a lot of work to be done and getting things through, and we haven't made it through our first payroll yet. So and including.
I'll tell you, I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed because I was president the year that didn't happen.
So we are keeping very close attention to that and making sure that goes through. We have NOACA, they've been great in working with us and getting us through everything that we need. It just sometimes it may take us a little bit longer than normal to pull something up because it's a very different module than what we're used to. But besides that, did anybody have any questions? Next thing I have is, I don't know if you remember me talking last month about the amended appropriations and estimate certificate. You guys approved the permanent ones. I wasn't done with the permanent ones because we haven't done our final expenditure reports, which are due in September. So I'm coming back with an amended appropriation to that one. And like I said last month, it's because the auditors don't really much like it when you are off the end of the month for longer than 1 month. So like my authority given to me by you in the January resolution basically says I can make modifications to it if I bring it to you at the next board meeting. So if I miss a board meeting, I'm beyond my authority to make those changes. So unfortunately, that makes you have to approve permanent twice. So these are really the permanent appropriations, but they'll be called amended. So, and most of them had to do with outside the general fund. Like the general fund, it changed 58,000 in appropriations and about 55,000 in revenue. The rest of it came mostly from 500 funds and just shoring up those grants amounts once we had their final expenditure report. I think that's all. The only other thing that's not in my discussion session is the student activities budget objectives. Those are on the consent agenda. Those are standard every year that you get. So if you have any questions on those as well. I'd be happy to answer them.
And, okay, anything else?
Cheryl, where did that go? I saw it earlier today about all the budgets or whatever.
It's in the consent agenda.
Yes. Okay, I thought I found it early, higher, sorry. Okay.
Sorry.
I
Did
thought I
you
was
find it?
losing my mind. Yeah,
Oh, no,
yeah,
you
it's
found
here,
it.
yeah.
All right. Anything else?
That's it.
We have a motion to approve 4.1 financials for August 2020.
So moved. I'll second.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mrs. Overland?
Yes.
Mr. Rodenberger?
Yes.
Mr. Wall?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes. All right, and I'll need a motion for 4.2 amended appropriations, estimated certificate of resources.
I will move on.
Second.
Any other questions, discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Everett?
Yes.
Mr. Roebuck?
Yes.
Mr. Wall?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Oh, and that takes us to you, Mr. Moore.
All right, fantastic. Discussion item 5.1, House Bill 606. I'm sure that you'd seen this, but I want to bring it to your attention. House Bill 606 grants employers state law immunity from COVID-related lawsuits. This passed quickly in the House and the Senate. It has not been signed into law, but I anticipate that will take place before the lame duck session takes place in Columbus, Ohio. I gave you kind of an outline of what it is, but it grants state law immunity from civil lawsuits for injury, death, or loss related to the transmission or contraction of the novel coronavirus. And it talks about, because there's a public health order that's been issued, and that these agencies such as ourselves, we don't create ourselves as essential employees, but we provide an essential service, so that was given to us. And it has a retroactive date of March 9th, and it will expire on September 30th, 21. So, thought that was interesting. I think Chris had inquired about that pretty early on, maybe even before the summertime you were inquiring about that. And I said there was something coming, and the House Bill 606 is what it is. Any questions on House Bill 606? School bus purchase program, this will be a double-headed monster between Cheryl and I, because between the Office of Finances at the Ohio Department of Education and the Office of Budget Management, and they're probably tired of seeing that email come through from Cheryl Swisher that came out once a week. If you recall, we reported to you in August that we had been awarded the grant money, and then they didn't allocate the grant money to us. Last Thursday, Cheryl received an email that they were opening that opportunity back up to us. And they said more to follow in the next couple of weeks. They did not officially say, hey, you got your money back, but they said, just want to let you know we've been given permission to open that back up. I would anticipate we will not qualify for any more money, but I would imagine we will qualify for what we were originally had been granted in that request. So do you have anything else on that?
No, it is, I had asked when they were going to release it, they said they were working on it Friday, so I assume it'll be sometime this week. But not just, it reopens the CCIP, which is where, the superintendent and the treasurer approve it and submit it to the state. That grant in particular was $62,000, I think. So that's a huge.
And it makes a couple lease payments for us on the new buses, so that's a big deal.
So that's a big deal, and it not just opens it back up for us, it opens it back up to every school district in the state of Ohio. So there are other school districts in our same situation.
What was the allocation amount, like $20 million for this program?
It was 20 and they only used like 12.
Yeah, and so there was still a whole bunch of money left, and I'm sure that their budget was cut because the entire state, but the reason why I think it all ties together is because what Cheryl reported earlier, the budget, the revenues were not, for the state, were not going to be as low as they had anticipated, so I think they were waiting on that before they released that money back to us, so stay tuned, you'll hear about it again. 5.3 parent-teacher conference format. This would be fantastic if Mr. McDonough could outline this very clearly in the newspaper. But you will see going out our formats for parent-teacher conferences. We had met at Administrative Council at the end of September, beginning of September, I can't even remember when it was, but we were coming up with a format. We finalized that. I met with the Teachers Association as well, trying to determine what's the best format to do that, if it was going to be in person, if it was going to be virtual, if it was going to be a combination. Through a lot of conversation with everybody, we thought it was important to have in-person conferences for those families that wanted to come and see the teachers in person, just like their children attend in-person classes. So we're giving families that first option. In addition to that, if you were to have an underlying health condition and you were not comfortable coming in person, you can request a phone conference, and your teacher will contact you via the telephone. And if you look, we're gonna make everybody follow the same safety protocols that we would if they were to come to school, come to an event. They're gonna have to check in at the door. They're gonna have a mask on. We're keeping them to around a 10-minute time frame, so we fall under that 15-minute or less time that they believe COVID can be contracted. But we are going to ask all families to sign up so that we have an idea of the number of people coming into the building. The building principals will send all of this out at the elementary school. It'll go in backpacks like they do, which little kids are very good about getting home every night. Those of you with middle school and high school children, you'll probably have to hound your children to get the information. But the principals at this building will make certain that it's sent out electronically and probably give you a phone conference as well. So I think it's important for our parents to see how we will operate and the safety protocols we have in place in the classroom. And the teachers were very supportive of that, and we're excited to do that as well. So, and you have the dates listed of all of our conferences there. If you look, our third grade conference is a little different. We have to write REMPs in third grade, and so they have to be done by November 1st. So that's why we have the conferences ahead of time with that. Third and final reading on the policy and administrative guideline revisions. Anyone have any questions on those? Okay, I'll consider that our third and final reading, and there will be an action item, I believe, in the consent agenda for that. Administrative reports, I have those here. I told the principals to enjoy I sent them an email and said I'm pleased to announce the return of the principal reports, and I could hear they gotta go to the school board meetings in the background. But I had told them that if they sent this, we would it would be fine. They wouldn't necessarily have to come just yet. Give them the night off. I have, if you see in order here, you have Mrs. Steyer's first. One of the things I'll highlight on Sherry's is that she's been doing, starting today, our virtual students are taking their diagnostic assessments, and they started this morning in the cafeteria. And I went up to Sherry after it was over to ask her how it was, because I didn't want to ask her ahead of time, but it went really well for her today. A little rough start, but I don't want to speak for you, you're here. Redesign of the district leadership team and PBIS at our professional development, and I'm sure you saw that we have no district report card. Well, we have one, but it has no data, so with the exception of the few items there. K2.
May I,
Yeah.
quickly while we're on the report?
Yes.
Did I hear with the proficiency test, are they averaging some things this year because of the COVID,
There will be no data from the previous year,
right?
and then I have not heard anything about any averages. I've heard that they right now there is likely to be assessments this year. That is all that I've read or seen anything on that. Sherry, have you seen anything?
No. Are you referring to the grade cards, the grades that the students will receive?
Proficiency test.
The scores, we're now
Like
substituting.
individual student scores?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not an average.
It's the grade in the class. So if I'm taking an Algebra 1 class and I get an A, then that transfers over to
Your
the,
score.
your score for that test, like you actually took it.
Yes.
So
And-
where you ended up last year is what they're basing it on from your classroom.
Yeah,
From your,
so
yes.
they asked
Gotcha,
us to
that makes
review their final grade. Well, we issue semester 1 grades and semester 2 grades. So we have to average the 2 semester grades for that to be issued.
Oh, okay.
So that was where the average may be.
Yeah, that may be what it was.
Yeah, those are individual students. That was passed in the Coronavirus Act that they passed in May. Mrs. Held just put in here, you know, they have, you know, they're doing a good job cleaning for the maintenance staff, and they're doing art, music in the classroom. They're going outside as much as they could up to this week probably, and if it's not raining, they'll still go outside. But you'll see Officer Phipps and his therapy dog Scout in the picture. That was the big move for the DARE program this year, and Dana and Scout have been out and about. You want to talk about the most popular person in the world? Scout.
I bet, I bet.
We did change dismissal early on. I think it would be important to note that it's going extremely well at the elementary and how we dismiss. So they're very pleased with that, as is the bus driver, the bus drivers and the principals. Again, echoing Jane's here in the 3-5. It's off to a great start. She's proud of how the students and the staff have handled the start of school. The support staff, maintenance, custodial, bus drivers, aides, cafeteria workers. She really appreciates how they've helped her, help the school make that transition. Again, you see the word PBIS, positive behavior intervention supports. You'll see that will be the mantra moving forward across the district, that we will have a true positive behavior intervention supports for across the district. And again, just a couple of statistics there on number of students in face-to-face and DBA and her perspective. Mr. Carr's the same thing. They're doing 8th grade 4 county visits virtually this year. That'll be kind of cool.
It will be.
And I think that'll be good. The after-school success, nothing less. And again, this SNL started as kind of, I think it got a bad rap starting out. It's free 1 hour worth of teacher-led tutoring and homework help Monday through Thursday after school in the library, open to all students, grades 6 through 8. All are welcome. And they're really trying to promote that. With our buses running later and our Beyond the Bell buses, we're able to get these kids connected with rides through our elementary routes when they leave. So we can get them home too as well. So that's not the issue. You see our 21st Century Grant program there, the Beyond the Bell. That's starting October 5. And then Mr. Carr's got some athletic information on the back as well. ACT homecoming postponed. They're going to do a winter homecoming this year, winter dance. Just thought it would be better, more realistic to have it if you can have it then yet. But I'll support Mr. Jerger and Mr. Beauty getting that to that point. You see ACT, SAT, PSAT, seniors going over. It's never too early to talk to them about their college application process. Kind of use the Thanksgiving as the threshold for them. Our choirs are singing, they're wearing masks, they're distanced. I actually ran into Mr. West out here Friday, and he said, boy, it's really changed how he looks at things and does things in choir, but he's really good. He feels good about how things are going. Band Spectacular, if you didn't get a chance to come to that, we just had a local bands that went really well. People were happy to come and be out. And as reported there, Mr. Jerger has reported 0 positive COVID cases at the high school. Mr. Eckhart's there. We have tech Chromebooks at home. We have a number of students in the DBA. We have a help desk that students go through there, and going through the precautions that students have to take in cleaning their Chromebooks. So, any questions on these administrative reports?
Do you know, as far as band choir is concerned, later on, as far as contests and things like that, have they already canceled those?
I'm not sure about like our OMEA contests. I know we locally are trying to figure out a way to do our concerts, going to do more small ensemble stuff, probably record a number of that and then broadcast that way. I have not seen anything from the OMEA about any contest, large group or small group.
Also, like quiz bowl?
We are still quiz bowling right now. Yeah, we are. So again, those are limited fan base anyways. And so I think now they're just having no fans and just the kids and the advisors.
And then, what about their winter concerts, like the Christmas and?
That's what we're
Right.
kind of, they're going to hold off till the last minute on those to see. But I think we're going to look at it from this perspective. If we can have 300 people in a gymnasium and we're going to have we can have a small concert in the auditorium, or because that would be about the capacity at that as well. Then I think we ought to have an opportunity for those kids to do their performance and their families to be able to come as well. So
Because you can record it and share it.
yeah,
To the
we have some nice recording equipment downtown. So
I was gonna say with that, maybe they could, like,
Oh, they do.
And then open it up to TV another night.
Sure.
You know, so kind of space out.
I don't know about live streaming because of proprietary rights of music,
Right.
but all the music we play, we have
We pay
purchased.
for 'em,
Yeah, so that may be another option for us to be able to actually broadcast it live. We've had some people kind of, we're working with Channel 26, they do a lot of live broadcasting. And what it costs to put on, we've inquired specifically, what does it cost you to put on an event? If we wanted to do something, what would you charge us? And again, we could recoup some of that cost by selling advertisements or getting community sponsors or whatever for it.
Yeah.
But it's, I think that we're to the point where we have some great technology. We've had some master hiccups or monumental hiccups in our technology that have limited us. You know, we have the capability of having full camera, motion cameras at the football field. There's a bracket that they can't get in to mount the camera, and then we're supposed to have it in the gymnasium. Well, the guy that's coming to install it said he's only gonna come to Defiance one time, he's not gonna come 2 times, and it's free, so we can't like beat him over the head and say you have to come. But, you know, I told Jerry the season won't be over before the guy gets here, and then kind of defeats the purpose through the national federations of high schools, so. But that's just one of those things, so. We live streamed the football game, our first live stream Friday night, and I hit the wrong button and the camera was on me and I had my mask like this and I was all over the place. And I couldn't turn it off fast enough and I thought I hit reverse the camera and I cut the live stream and I had to restart it and I was sweating. I felt more under pressure right then than any time in my life.
Did you get any smart?
Oh, and the Lord have mercy, I couldn't get my phone to stop going off at that point in time.
You know, that telecast the other night of the volleyball game, that was impressive.
Real, that's Channel 26,
That's what I, yeah.
they use, yeah, I mean, they're a television station. And they're privately owned, and they are a for-profit, and so, when they can get enough advertising, they're willing to do it, so.
Yeah, it's really neat. They say, oh, did you see that? And they like back up.
Yeah,
show
and they
you.
do a good job commentating.
Oh, really?
So,
Yeah,
yeah, so.
Is that online only, Channel 26, or is that?
No,
No,
you
it's
can,
on
it's on
cable.
your cable, if you have Spectrum cable,
Okay.
you can get it.
Is it live stream or is it just?
No, it's live, Channel 19.
Is it available on, over streaming if you don't have Spectrum cable, or is it just on Spectrum?
I believe
Hmm.
that they have a website that you can go to too, because you can get it, because I know there are some businesses that do not have Spectrum that have shown some of the events that they've done. I believe that.
I thought one of the radio stations used to run that.
They did, they don't anymore, it's
Yeah, right,
privately owned.
but they used to.
That's all I have for discussion, Mrs. Davis.
Okay.
And you'll see the 6-1 on the approved the policy administrative guideline revisions as presented.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move on to the
Also,
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Erdenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Wall?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Moat?
Yes.
Mrs. Everly?
Yes.
Thank you much.
Okay, moving to the consent agenda. We will approve minutes of September 9th meeting. We're going to accept a couple of donations and there's maternity leave. We have a few employments of 1 resignation. Sub-teachers from the ESC, the student activity budgets for the current school year, and that would be it on the consent. Does anybody need anything removed from there? Nope. No. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve, just like that.
I'll second.
Any other comments? Do a roll call, please.
Mr. Wall?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Moat?
Yes.
Mrs. Everly?
Yes.
Mr. Erdenberg?
Yes.
Moving to old business. Mr. Morton, you wanted to update us?
Yes, I think it's important to know and for you to know, for our public to know that we report daily to the Defiance County Health Department is what we call it. It's actually called the Defiance County General Health District. This is its official title. Of any COVID positive cases, any COVID-related symptoms, quarantines, all of that. And today we've reported 3 quarantines to the Defiance County General Health District through their online reporting system. And that then they report that information to the state. We're only officially required to report COVID positive staff and COVID positive students, but they use the data to help track just general illnesses around the county. And I think it's important to note that our bus drivers picking kids up in the morning and hand sanitizing, wearing masks, children walking into the buildings and hand sanitizing, and just generally following the protocols that we have in place, wearing their mask, washing their hands. Parents doing a good job of maybe if somebody doesn't just feel quite right, keeping them home for the day. Things have gone very well, and we've reported 0 positive COVID cases as of September 28th today for students and staff. So I think it's kudos to our families and our community for following that, our staff for being diligent, our maintenance, custodial staff. It's really great to see a variety of people that have different roles in our district come together and mesh together and help each other out basically and to make sure it goes well for kids. So I'd be remiss if I didn't report that to you, so thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you. Any other old business?
I give each of you a copy of, this comes in your utility bill.
That's where I see it.
On the RRFP, rectangular rapid flashing beacon. I know last week I brought up the idea of possibly doing something with the school zone located out here. So this is what I'm referring to, or what I'm proposing, if it's possible. And I will tell you that Friday, I'm picking my boys up from the high school. The ant line going to Captain Fever. I mean, that's what it was. They were just all lined up. And
All the kids walking
over
over.
to Captain Fever. Something needs to be in the roundabout, because I mean, they're running through, stopping, you know, and coming in and out. And I think there's more of a possibility of a child getting injured there than further down the road. But again, it's just something for your consideration.
I did follow up with Melinda Warner. That's not her name anymore. She got married.
Sprout.
Thank you. Melinda Sprout from the city engineer, and she is going to do a kind of a historical perspective on why, who applied for the waiver, et cetera. And then I did share with her about concerns in the roundabout. On our property, obviously, they don't have a lot of jurisdiction, but she can provide some guidance. And we were talking about some signage possibly, walking in the crosswalk. There is a crosswalk sign that looks about like that at the, you know, like at the roundabout, but there's nothing really to grab your attention. That's about all there is. They do design that so that if you cross it correctly, the driver should, the walker should always be on the right of the driver, so that you would theoretically not. But I've walked across that a number of times, and I can see you, especially, you know, being a kid, I'm not going to wait around and see what the car's doing. I'm going to make the car wait on me. So when she gets back to me with all the pertinent data, I'll get that to you.
Yeah, and I know they just installed a new one on 15 over there, just, say between speed repair and the bridge. I would say half dome building, it's over on the right hand side of the town on 15.
It used to be, I know
I
exactly.
can't remember what it is, but.
It's a couple down from Van Brackle's, the old
Yes.
Van Brackle building, yeah.
So they have one newly installed there, they're working on.
I think they're going to put a walking path somewhere
That's what they're
through
working
to
on.
get to, over here
Mhm.
is where it's eventually going to get to.
Yeah.
be a roundabout intersection.
That's soon enough.
And, nothing in the old business, I guess, is the, you mentioned the auditorium gateway.
Yeah, it is, and I actually, they were supposed to be done putting the curtains in at the end of the month, right? That was the end of August. Well, they were putting in the long curtains today, and I said to the guy sarcastically, I said, hey, I said the end of the month, I didn't mean the end of September. I meant the end of October, or the end of August. But it will be officially done this week, and I want it to be officially done, and then I'd like to have a school board meeting there. So I'll say tentatively plan your next school board meeting at the auditorium, and I think it would be safe to have public participation because of our spacing, that we would be able to honor that as well, and maybe have it kind of be an open house / school board meeting. I'll try and, if it's permissible, we'll have a light agenda, and then we can point that out to, and maybe Tim can come with this camera. I have a YouTube video of everything that's done thus far. If you get on our YouTube channel, you can see that. But I want you to see it when it's officially complete, and that'll be the first real activity in there. Will be that board meeting. Okay?
We've got community members that are excited to see it.
It is October 14th.
Okay.
Yes.
Do we have internet access in there so we
Yes.
can bring our hard copy?
Yeah, we have internet access. What I envision is you'd be up on the stage, kind of in a horseshoe. Anyone else would be sitting down in the stands. You would have microphones at your spots, so you would be amplified over it. I think it'd go pretty nice. I don't think you'll be able to be, maybe not quite 6 feet apart when you're up on the stage, but if we wear our masks and take care of ourselves before we get in there, I think we'll be safe in doing that.
That would be wonderful.
And we won't have to have a back to anybody. Everybody can see us from our front sides. Okay?
All right. Any other old business? All right, what about new business? Gary?
Thanks. On the 16th September, the school foundation held an online meeting, a virtual meeting. I guess Mr. Morton did a nice job of putting everything together. And as a representative from the board, I wanted to give you a little bit of information as to what took place. They did elect a new vice president, the outgoing vice president. I think had conflict.
Yes.
So Selena Frederick, been a long time head of our
PTO,
fundraising PTO program at elementary.
long time.
She's basically accepted that new position as vice president. The foundation is producing a new brochure, set of brochures. The DECA students came up with 6 designs, and the members of the foundation asked to vote on those designs, and we were aware of setting that up, and we will be getting back with us on the final results. I have not seen them. I don't know if you saw them.
No, everybody had to submit their choices to him via email.
And then Chris Schroeder, of course, who oversees the financials, mentioned that the investments, most of the scholarship programs and things that we're involved with, we're doing well. 2 of the 3 ones are experiencing over 5% increase in their investment return. One is lacking a little, but that's just due in part to their investment strategy rather than any major changes in that area. I personally just would like to thank those individuals for the work and the effort that they put into the foundation. They do an outstanding job. Very well organized, and everything that they do is an investment for the kids and for the kids. And so I think personally just thank them for their hard work in the school foundation. That's all I have. Unless Mr. Morton would have anything to add.
No, I would echo that. You can see passion for Defiance City Schools and hear their voices and decisions they make. It's, when you're not the superintendent, you really don't know much about that organization. You fill out a mini grant if you want a little money for your classroom or for your office, but they do a really a quiet, unnoticed, fantastic job. They really do.
They always have.
Yeah.
They
I'll
always
tell
have.
you, So I mentioned the fundraising campaign is in full swing, and we were asked to place some names maybe that don't necessarily on our fundraising list, so we're maybe flyer. So you know. But we certainly appreciate all the contributions that the community makes regardless of the
Need to remind people too at this point that they can make a donation in memory of, in honor of, family, friends, whatever it might be. And that's a nice way to acknowledge someone.
Just so that you guys know, I'm meeting with the chairs and with Chris Yoder next month to let people know that the foundation is, the fundraising is in full swing, and there will be something in the paper at the end of next month to let people know that information.
Good, thank you.
Great.
I think they'll have a chair with my.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's-
Honorary chair,
Yeah,
husband and
actually,
wife.
it's actually, it'll be Coit Black and his wife.
So they did.
Yep.
Yep,
Very good.
Oh,
yes,
Yep,
that's exactly what it is.
Tony and Karen? Oh, awesome.
Probably, is he maybe a year or two over in your boys?
uh-huh, I believe all three.
He's
Yeah.
1 year old, oh, 2, he's 1 year
Oh,
old.
two, I'm sorry.
He's a year older than you?
And
That's a
their,
good choice.
one of their youngsters is in kindergarten here.
And he's got a couple of siblings that are seniors,
Oh, that's
Connor and
right.
Kendall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good selection. All right, any other new business? None? We do have a need for an executive session tonight for the purpose to consider employment dismissal, discipline, employee matters, and also the purchase of public property for public purposes, sale of, so on and so forth, and other matters that may be kept confidential by federal law or regulations. So I will entertain a motion to enter executive session.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Moot?
Yes.
Mrs. Zerlin?
Yes.
Mr. Rudenberger?
Yes.
Mr. Wall?
Yes.
So we're in exec session at 5:40.